Miss Blossom Dearie. And now we want to welcome two people whom you probably know, but two people whose art exhibition this year in London had a bigger impact than any other art exhibition, certainly, and whose philosophy about life and art fascinates a lot of people. Let's welcome now, please, Mr. John Lennon and Miss Yoko Ono. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Stan. Who's that?
Stan.
That's Stan, is it? Hello, Stan.
Hello. I was just thinking to myself, how much more money do you suppose it could have cost for air conditioning?
The matter will be looked into, and after you've gone back to America,
I think you get
rejected.
the badge for that.
Yes, you gave me one of these badges beforehand. Yes. Now, what is this? This is really the basis of what you're talking about, isn't it? You are here.
It's that show, yeah.
Now, what exactly does it mean? You are here.
You are here.
Well, instead of Kirill was there or something, you know, usually people think in the vicarious terms. They think, well, somebody's there. John Lennon is there, somebody. But it's not that. You are the one who's here. And so in art, usually artists give something that's an object, made object, and say, this is art, you know. But instead of that, art exists in people, it's people's art. And so we don't believe in just making something and completing it and giving it to people, but we like people to participate and sort of, all the pieces are unfinished. Yeah. And they have to be finished by people.
Now, what have we got here? You were pointing at this as you were explaining that, Yoko.
Yes.
Tell us about this. It's what, a broken cup?
Well,
right?
It's just an example, but this is supposed to be a sculpture, and it's a broken cup. And an unfinished sculpture that would be just made by people, just gradually rebuilding it into a cup.
Well, and is the sculpture then the broken cup, or the way people rebuild it with
the thing
glue?
is, there's no such thing as sculpture or art, and it's just a bit of, it's just words, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's saying, everything is art, and we're all art. Art is just a tag, like a journalist tag, you know, but artists believe it. And that sculpture is anything, you know, you care to name it. This is sculpture, us sitting here. This is a happening. Yeah. We are here.
I don't think
this is art. Yeah, but I mean, if you gave that to a child, he wouldn't have any preconceived ideas, so you wouldn't have to say, this is sculpture, or this is a broken cup. You'd say, there's that. There's glue. What do you do? You stick it together.
In reply to your question, I think you can say that this is just a process of art, or process of things. You know, everything's just a process.
Can you show us? We haven't got the You Are Here
canvas, no.
Canvas, because
the
it's
point
locked
about
up in a cupboard and no one could get at it.
Yeah.
Can we bring on a blackboard and the other thing?
It's better to explain why it was on canvas first.
Yes.
The point was, I had this idea that, like, you know, the street maps or things that say where a place is, you are here, you know, on those street map things. You've seen them?
Yes.
Right. So I thought, that'd be a good idea to have a show where you actually had the street map inside the gallery, and you went in and saw that. So I thought, now if I did that, and seeing as I've never done it before, and they've all got preconceived ideas about what I am, I thought, I'll put it on canvas, and that makes it art brackets or inverted commas. You know, I mean, it is or it isn't, however you like it. So I put it on a big white round canvas and just had You Are Here that I'd written on it. And the point of the show was people went through various things to get to the thing, to the canvas, and then they reacted to it. And some of them just thought, oh yeah, you know, no hang up, you are here. And they got a badge. I had a hat saying, for the artist, which they put money in or chewing gum or all sorts of rubbish and that. Anything, I didn't mind. And then they took a badge. But I filmed them secretly with a candid camera team, and sometimes they go and they put something in, or they take a badge and they look around and they take a handful. And there's all these amazing reactions. The whole point of the show was that was the art, that was the happening of these people reacting to it. Some people who are sort of less hung up just sort of accept it. Oh, you are here, good joke, or oh, so what?
And do you want people to look and receive things and just look at this sort of thing, or do you want them really to get involved?
Participating.
Well, they do participate as soon as they look at it. You see, now if you show it to a child, he'll just either take no notice of it because he knows he's here, or he'll just say, oh, you're here, you know, it's just written on the wall or in the toilet. And the film that you're going to show is the same thing. If you show a child a film, there's no preconceived ideas about what a film should be. But most adults have all this preconception about what everything is.
Yeah. Now, can we, in that illustration, show the film now without saying anything in advance about it?
Sure.
Right, let's just watch a bit of this film, and then let's see what your reactions are to it.
Also, I think, I've learned a lot from John because, for instance...
Just 1 second. Let's watch the film for a moment.
Oh, all right.
It's out of frame.
Yeah.
Lift it up, lift it up.
You're getting it all down there.
Can you see it? Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh. We didn't bring the soundtrack because we lost it.
Was there ever a soundtrack?
Oh, there is a soundtrack, yes. We haven't put it on yet.
But it doesn't really matter. I mean, any sound is sound.
This sound will do.
This sound is right.
This is all right, is it? This sound?
Our sound is okay.
Yeah. It's still going on, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it goes on for an hour. But the point is, it's a film. I'll explain what I think about it. The point is that it's a portrait. You know, now if Renoir or any of those people had made a portrait of just somebody's face that never moves and just hangs on the wall, you accept it because people are used to that. But this is a portrait on film.
Well,
let me say that bit. You get that. So there's 3 minutes of film that was taken and spaced out to last an hour, very slow motion. So in an hour, in 3 minutes, a lot happens to somebody's face, anybody's face. A lot of amazing things happens, a lot of movement that you never realise goes on. And in this, you've got 3 minutes under a microscope to examine anybody's face, your own. You can't be bothered sitting there for an hour looking at your own face. And amazing things happen. Your whole head changes shape. Your nose is moving. Every part of it is moving all the time, which is known. But you're not aware of this in everyday life. But in that film, you can see it. And when we showed it to her daughter, she just said, oh, look, his nose is moving.
John has a funny nose. Moving.
But show it to somebody else and say, well, a film about a face for an hour? Oh, yeah, sure. Like that.
But it's not just the face, it's as John said, it's moving, and it's just that wavelength coming into you. It's like a vibration.
What do you want? Now, we only saw 1 minute there of a 90-minute film, right? But what do you want our reaction to be?
Well, I don't expect any particular reaction, except that I was thinking as a portrait. Well, if you have a portrait in your house or something, that you always will think that it's there, and it's in your mind, so to speak. And one day you see the portrait again, and it just suddenly winks at you or something. And it sort of gives you a message. And this film goes on like that, but at one point, John just sort of smiles, and that's the vibration that comes across.
What vibration? What do you mean by vibration?
A message. I think just smiling is a nicer message than scorning, something like that.
The vibration is, if somebody happy, if we're sitting in your house or something, and we're feeling depressed, and somebody who doesn't feel depressed can come in and cheer us up just by his vibration or his attitude, whatever, his presence.
Aura and all that.
If you say words, something happens, it just doesn't drop onto the floor or something. It's like radio waves. Whatever I'm saying now goes on ad infinitum wherever it goes because it's a waveform or a pattern. You know, it sets up a vibration. So everything you do or think does this too. You know, it doesn't just end here. It's like throwing a stone into water. Something happens, and every time you speak, the vibration you set up with your voice goes on till it wears out or whatever. And if you make a sound, if you hit a gong and listen to it, it goes. But it doesn't end when you can't hear it anymore. Carries on. The vibration is something that we could have between us. There's vibrations in here.
Can you get a vibration from?
Well, there is one.
These 200 people.
There is a vibration now. It's not. You can't. You'd have to be super sensitive to read the whole thing as well. But you can tell that it's not aggressive vibration. It's not over antagonistic. It's interested, but still we're still a bit freaky because it's us two on TV. So there's that vibration, but there's a calm vibration here and a hot one, But, you know, it's sort of, there is a vibration, you know, there's an atmosphere, and vibration is just a word you think, hippies. You know, that's what they talk. But vibration is just vibration.
But,
Yeah,
you know,
and you mean, in fact, that they're interested and a bit puzzled, you're saying, R200 here. But I mean, the vibration would change as you convince them.
not only that, but if they participate. In other words, as long as you participate in a thing, you start experiencing it yourself.
Well, let's get them to participate, because
exactly.
you've got a piece of wood here. Now, tell us about the piece of wood and the nail.
Oh, you tell them about it, I'll hang it up.
Yes.
You tell us
Well,
about it.
first, it's a painting called Hammer and Nailing, and I just hate the idea of painters just making a painting with color balance and the right texture, etc., etc. But this is just a painting that people come and hammer and nailing wherever they want to, and that makes the shape of the painting.
I see. And what do we want the people to feel as they do it?
Well, they just have to find out for themselves. In other words, it's an experience. And I think, you know, basically the artist's role in art is extremely important in the sense that, well, now people are talking about revolution and things like that. Now, basically, I don't believe in revolution, because they say, well, revolution, if nothing happens, then we have to use violence too and all that. And the thing is, if we just go on making all these rituals and folk art and participating in that instead of
Violence. You
instead
mean,
of violence, yes.
What you mean is let them, as it were, bang a nail in rather than blow up a city.
Let it say that it's therapeutic or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't
well,
matter.
Look, John, can we?
Yes.
Would you like to get someone in the audience to come and try?
Right, anybody like to come along? Okay. Oh, hi. I know you.
Right, and can we have someone else as well to try this?
I think if you gave it to a child,
Let's have a
what
lady.
would he do? He'd just do
Lady
it.
too.
He'd have to go to a ritual saying, this is a painting, this is a hammer and nail.
Right, will you? Right, why
With
don't
the
you?
first contestant, please, not the hammer and nail.
Right, you try.
Supposing I want to hammer it in.
Oh, well, you can do
Yeah.
that, but I mean...
See, I can't because they...
well, this is my blackboard. You don't want to wreck my blackboard.
Right, well, try
you
try
can.
doing it there.
If you do one in there, I'll let you do one in here.
Yeah. Try doing
Give
it
me
there.
there and
There
I'll
you go.
hammer it. I don't want to hit my finger.
You did very well.
Thank you.
Hand mic.
Hand mark.
Now, what?
I wanted to hammer it in there.
I think, oh, you can if you like.
Now, tell me, what?
I don't know
what-
whether you
turn
deserve
around
this,
that way.
but you get
now,
it.
now, what feeling did you get as you were doing that then?
What feeling? Feeling of satisfaction.
No, well, that's it then.
Well, you're
Right.
a successful example, right? You move over there.
Roll
for a
up,
moment.
roll up.
You said.
Hammer and nailing everyone a winner.
Right, try and hammer in a nail.
Anyway.
No, not on John's blackboard, but up there.
So remind me to get cornflakes. A nice stroke, a nice stroke. Is that there?
Now, turn around the other way.
Would you like to?
Now, what did you get? Come round here.
Happy birthday.
Come round here, John.
Yeah.
Now, what feeling did you get out of that, Enid?
It was unbelievable.
I think this audience has been loaded tonight. Was it?
Absolutely. I can't explain it really.
But you just hammered in a nail. That's all you did.
Well, that was it. It was just hammering in a nail.
I think
Oh, it is good.
unbelievable.
Is it good?
Yes, it is. Try it.
All right. Thank you very much.
And now for Alabama, Mr. D. Frost is going to blow
Does it
one.
have to be a new nail? Or
Oh,
an
yes,
old?
I mean, because you don't want to use anybody's old nail. You don't know where it's been, do you? He's hammering it in now, third stroke. Beautiful stroke. Beautiful.
Now,
How did you feel?
I know this is a terrible condemnation of me, but I just felt like a man hammering in a nail.
I felt like one hammering it in on TV.
That's more accurate. Yes.
Yes.
Well caught. Well caught. But but I mean,
Just put the hat out for a collection.
right.
For artists.
On the way out. I'm having a bit of a tax problem.
Now, did the first people presumably responded as they ought to have responded to, and I was just a prosaic Barry Bucknell. But I mean,
either way, it's fine. You know.
but I mean,
Either way is fine,
The thing
you
is to what? Get people involved and get them to do things.
Well, ask her, because that's her bit, really.
Yes, but it's
I'll ask you because it's your bit.
well, I mean, that particular one was mine. But you see, for instance, this piece here, called Built Around It, as you can see. This is by John. And you see, that's why I was saying that I've learned a lot from John, because I was doing all these instruction pieces to make people get involved in it and everything. And then he suddenly one day said, why don't you use this as a piece and call it Build Around It? And it's also an instruction piece to let people do something to it. But the idea is that most art, people are more, sort of artists are interested in destructive things, to destroy the establishment, etc. And we never thought of something like just keeping this as is and building around it. The concept was so beautiful. And so I thought, well, that's your piece, so why don't we do a group show, And I was just going to run a show then, so I asked John to participate in that.
Well, in fact, because this is interesting, the thing with the nails, for instance, it was banging the nail in that the two of you first found that you agreed on art and so on.
Oh, yeah, well, I went... well, that's her version. She was having a show at this gallery, and I knew the fellow that ran it, so it wasn't... It's a bit embarrassing being a Beatle anyway, going into a shop, never mind going into a gallery, because they either all leap on you thinking, here's another mug, like a Texan, he'll buy anything. And I had a bit of a hang-up about art, too, having been to art school, and disliked the sort of attitude of the so-called artist, So anyway, I finally got to this show, and she had all these things on, all these hammer nail things, and that clock there, where you listen to it to a stethoscope, all the things. And at first I reacted like a mug, like the ones that they're saying they don't get a badge, I was thinking, don't fool me with all this junk, So then there was this ladder and a thing on the ceiling. So I climbed the ladder, and on the ceiling it said, yes. You see, so I thought, I agreed then. It's okay, I mean, it's like those jokes, while you're looking at here, you're dribbling down your trousers and that thing. I mean, it's all sort of connected. I mean, people get a buzz out of that in the toilet, but if you put it on in a room, it upsets them a bit, because they've got preconceived ideas about where those messages should be. But it said yes. And if it had said no, well, I would have carried on with my preconceived ideas about art and artists, that they're all sort of, sure. But it said yes, and that was enough, And then she came up and said, she didn't know who I was, and was saying, do you like to hammer a nail in? It's 5 shillings. So I said...
You didn't want to pay.
I didn't have any money, so I said, I'll hammer an imaginary nail in, I'll give you an imaginary 5 shillings. And she agreed with that, she accepted that, on the same basis as we accept her work, I'd accepted her work, and that was how we met, actually.
But I mean, the thing is, and this comes back to the basic thing of what you're doing, really, was it as much fun to you to bang in an imaginary nail and pay an imaginary 5 shillings as it would have been if both had been real?
Yes, because as a child I did a lot of imaginary bits, I mean, it depends on the individual. I enjoyed then knocking the nail in. I enjoy knocking nails in walls to hang pictures up. But I also enjoy thinking, I'm going to do that, but I actually won't do it. I enjoy imagining doing things just as much. Don't you? I mean, you imagine a meal, you imagine sex, you imagine a holiday, and it's nearly as good as the actual thing.
No, in all cases, the real thing's much better. In all
my memories of holidays, even on a holiday that wasn't so good, I remember the good bit. It's just like that. And if you imagine it, it's all good.
Sometimes imaginary things are much nicer. I mean, when you go actually in a park, the green is not that green, etc.
But I mean, if imaginary things are as good as real things, give us an imaginary song.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. But I mean, if imaginary things are as good as real things, then
no, I didn't say that. I
things
said
not almost as good. Do things therefore not matter at all? Is it all in the mind?
Well, I don't know. That's what they keep saying. That's what George's cartoon kept saying in Yellow Submarine. It's all in the mind, groovy, and all that. But it probably is all in the mind, but I don't know.
Well, both are nice, I think. And also, you have to have, somebody keep reminding you that you have a mind.
You're only awake when you realise you're awake. And when you're dreaming, it is just as real as being... Whatever happens is just as real. Whether you actually do die in a dream or fulfill whatever you're doing in a dream. There's nobody to tell me that it isn't as real as this now. Because how do you know,
You mean so that the thing is as real as... I mean, if you had to summarise, I mean, we've the last got about a minute to go. How could you... It's amazing, but how could you summarise what you want to get across to our people? Have the vibrations changed?
A little, yes.
Yes, to free their minds.
I think maybe it's got confusing with this because we're not all that good, and we're not all that articulate, and it's nerve-wracking being on TV and trying to explain yourself. Now, we try and explain ourselves in what we do, and I do it mainly through music, and she does it through her art like that. And it's hard to put words to it.
So we're not trying to explain,
but
John.
the thing,
we're just
okay.
trying to communicate.
Communicate.
And communication itself is art, and art is communication. And so that made object and say, this is art, But instead of that, art exists in people, it's people's art. And so we don't believe in just making something and completing it and giving it to people, but we like people to participate and sort of, all the pieces are unfinished. Yeah. And they have to be finished by people.
Now, what have we got here? You were pointing at this as you were explaining that, Yoko.
Yes.
Tell us about this. It's what, a broken cup?
Well,
right?
It's just an example, but this is supposed to be a sculpture, and it's a broken cup. And an unfinished sculpture that would be just made by people, just gradually rebuilding it into a cup.
Well, and is the sculpture then the broken cup, or the way people rebuild it with
the thing is, there's no
air conditioning.
The matter will be looked into, and after you've gone back to America,
I think you get
rejected.
the badge for that.
Yes, you gave me one of these badges beforehand. Now, what is this? This is really the basis of what you're talking about, isn't it? You are here.
It's that show, yeah.
Now, what exactly does it mean? You are here.
You are here.
Well, instead of Kilroy was there or something, usually people think in the vicarious terms. They think, well, somebody's there. John Lennon's there, somebody. But it's not that. You are the one who's here. And so in art, usually artists give something that's an object.
This thing is sculpture or art, and it's just a bit of, it's just words,
Mm-hmm.
And like she's saying, everything is art, and we're all art. Art is just a tag, like a journalist tag, but artists believe it. And that sculpture is anything, you care to name it. This is sculpture, us sitting here. This is a happening. Yeah. We are here.
I don't think
this is art. Yeah, but if you gave that to a child, he wouldn't have any preconceived ideas, so you wouldn't have to say, this is sculpture, or this is a broken cup. You'd say, there's that, there's glue. What do you do? You stick it together.
In reply to your question, I think you can say that this is just a process of art, or process of things. Everything is just a process.
Can you show us? We haven't got the You Are Here
canvas, no.
Canvas, because
the
it's
point
locked
about
up in a cupboard and no one could get at it.
Yeah.
Can we bring on a blackboard and the other thing? Miss Blossom Dearie. And now we want to welcome two people whom you probably know, but two people whose art exhibition this year in London had a bigger impact than any other art exhibition, certainly, and whose philosophy about life and art fascinates a lot of people. Let's welcome now, please, Mr. John Lennon and Miss Yoko Ono. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Stan. Who's that?
Stan.
That's Stan, is it? Hello, Stan.
Hello. I'm just thinking to myself, how much more money do you suppose it could have cost for air...
It's better to explain why it was on canvas first.
Yes.
The point was, I had this idea that, like, the street maps or things that say where a place is, you are here, on those street map things. You've seen them?
Yes.
Right. So I thought, that'd be a good idea to have a show where you actually had the street map inside the gallery, and you went in and saw that. So I thought, now if I did that, and seeing as I've never done it before, and they've all got preconceived ideas about what I am, I thought, I'll put it on canvas, and that makes it art brackets or inverted commas. It is or it isn't, however you like it. So I put it on a big white round canvas and just had You Are Here that I'd written on it. And the point of the show was people went through various things to get to the thing, to the canvas, and then they reacted to it. And so